Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Southern Exposure. I'm Tim, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So, one of the pieces of equipment that I have out here is a homemade log trailer. It has several Harbor Freight 2,500 pound winches on it, and because around here the logging is like the number one industry here. So DOT loves this area. So what ends up happening is whenever one of the drivers end up getting pulled over at a mobile weight station, then he ends up calling everybody else on his CB, and whenever he does, every driver that's out there hauling logs, usually they're quite possibly overloaded, they'll end up pulling off to the side of the road and tying a chain to a couple of logs and then tie a chain to a tree, and they'll just snatch a couple logs off their trailer to get them within weight standards, so that way they don't get fined. Got it. So what I do is I built this little log trailer to take and hook up to my truck and end up driving over there, and I pick these logs up on the side of the road. They're free logs. I mean, usually they're pretty decent size logs, and they can be anywhere from 40-50 foot long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a look at that log trailer, and you tell me what you think about it. Okay, so right now I've got the log trailer hooked up to my tractor, and this is it. I know it doesn't look like much. I still have to take and cut the decking and put on there, but this is primarily what I use to take and move logs all over the place. So I'll go through it. Let's see what it looks like. So on the tongue up here where it couples to the truck, I tried to get the heaviest, dutiest truck upper I could, and this is it. I ended up getting this at Harbor Freight. All the steel that I have on this trailer is all scraps that I ended up finding and used for this project. So one of the things is whenever you end up taking and you're hauling a heavy load, one of the things you're concerned with is weight, and weight on the tongue. So I ended up taking this right here is actually doubled up heavy channel, 4-inch channel, and I skip welded it across the top and the bottom, and it goes about 5 to 6 foot back on the trailer right here, all the way back, and it's welded solid to that 2x2 angle and some more 4-inch heavy channel. So up here on the front of the trailer we got a 8,000 pound landing gear on the neck of the trailer, and then right here on each side I have two 2,000 pound jacks, and what they're used for primarily is to take and make the trailer a little bit more stable whenever you're using the boom. So the neck is made of 4-inch doubled up channel. The side rails is made up of 4-inch channel. The cross members from the side to the neck is made up of 4-inch channel, heavy channel. Cross members are made up of 4-inch heavy channel. The boom is made up of 4-inch heavy channel with the braces. And along the bottom there's another piece of 4-inch heavy channel running the entire length from front to back on the trailer to take and provide more structural integrity. Whenever I got to use the winches, I have a battery that usually sits right there, but I don't have the battery right now. The battery's inside the skid steer, so the battery usually sits right there so I can operate all the winches and everything from right here in this one location. Okay, to pivot the boom, what I ended up doing for pivoting the boom is this right here is an axle from a trailer. I think this right here is solid 2x2, and it goes up to the hub, and then the hub, I ended up taking the rim and I bolted the rim on here and then welded the rim to the hub, and then took and welded the all of this stuff up to the hub. So, and the hub is greasable up in here, greasable right there, so that way you can constantly keep grease on it. But that'll allow the boom to take and pivot from left to right. It'll go all the way out to 180 degrees, and where I have a stop right here to take and stop it from moving anymore. Down here on the bottom where the brace is for the boom, I ended up rigging up just a piece of pipe, burned a hole through a piece of 1/4-inch diamond plate and stuck it in there and welded it up. And all that is just is to keep the brace that's welded up here, to have this brace right here, and to give structural integrity to the end of the boom. And you can see right here at the end of the brace is directly up underneath one of the risers on the truss for the top. And that helps strengthen it up a good bit. Anyway, the winch, which is right here, ends up taking, and it's got a set of rollers right here to help guide the wire down there to the end where the hook is. And what we'll end up doing on here is we'll end up taking and putting the right there on that hook, we'll end up putting a set of log tongs on there to take and pick them up and bring them, put them on top of the trailer. Right here at the front of the trailer, this is the winch for the boom, up and down, to take and raise and lower the cable for the boom. The boom is just a piece of 3-inch pipe, and it's got a piece of 3-inch channel up underneath, and I built a truss out of some rebar. This is the truss that runs across the top to try and distribute the load back to the back end. On the end of the boom, I've got a pulley here. This pulley's weighted at around 3,000 pounds. The winch that's up here on the front, I ended up getting this winch from Tractor Supply. I think it's like a 3,500 pound winch. £3,500 winch may not seem like a whole lot, but whenever you're just trying to take and pick up logs on the side of the road, I mean, that's more than enough. Anything greater than that, you're not really going to end up messing with. Anything greater than that. A lot of these log trucks that are around here don't carry anything greater than that. All the bigger, heavier stuff is done by specialty companies, but the production stuff which is mainly pine, there isn't really a whole lot of big pine around here unless you end up getting the virgin growth stuff. And trying to find that is extremely rare. Those winches are supposed to take and hook up right up here on that eye bolt. But the cable broke over there on that side. So right now I just got the other one trying to hold it in place. The winches that are here for the left to right for the boom, those winches work in tandem with one another. So whenever that one's paying out, this one right here is rolling up, and vice versa whenever you're trying to go the other opposite direction. That's achieved by simply just taking and the wires that feed this motor on this side, simply taking those wires that feed this motor and swapping the terminals around that go over here on this side. So that way they'll run in reverse. You can do that with DC current. You know, it's not that difficult. Well, right here you can see one of the winches, this winch and that winch right there. Both of them end up working in tandem together and to take and move the boom from left to right. One of the issues I had with the axles was the axles were too wide, so I ended up cutting the axles and welding them back together, and then took and ran them on there. As you can see, the axles, there isn't that much of a gap between the axle and the frame itself, which is perfect. It's only maybe 2.5 inches, and that's it. So if I ever decide to put fenders on this, it will accommodate those just fine. Alright, and if you're living anywhere in a rural area in the country, you know what these are. These are mobile home axles, and got these axles to take and carry the load. So I put a set of double axles in here, and I ended up buying all the shackles and everything for this to take and hold everything in place. The tires and all, I ended up getting those off of Amazon, and then the rest of it as well. I ended up just taking and buying the springs and everything, because the mobile home springs you get are crap springs. So I ended up going with something a little bit more heavy. That way, if it's a big log, you ain't so much worried about the boom, because trying to take and load a log too heavy on this boom, the slip clutches on that winch will end up engaging long before you end up bending this boom. I've already had that happen a couple times. So in the event that you end up taking and you're on the side of the road trying to take and pick up logs and put them on the trailer, and you run into one that's a little bit too big for the winch on the boom, that's gonna happen. So what I ended up doing was I made 2 rails out of 2x4 tubing, a lot similar to what Wood-Mizer uses to load manual mills. And what they do is they clip in to these 2x4 blocks right here, and you can adjust them out to whichever one you want. Well, they fit in those, so that way the trailer pulls up right beside the log, which would be right here. You take the cable off of that reel that's on that side, run it up over around the log, and then hook it back on that side, and then you energize it, and then whenever you energize it, it will pull the log up onto the trailer. So on this side, I got a 2,500 pound winch on this side mounted in between these two tires. It doesn't have any cable on it. I haven't put it on there yet. I'm still working on it. That winch is going to be operated from up there in the front of the trailer. I still have to take and hook the wiring up for the brakes. So both of these axles do have brakes on them. And I ended up repacking, putting new bearings in, repacked them with grease and all as well. This trailer frame, this portion of the trailer frame from here all the way up here is an old trailer that me and my dad ended up building probably 25 years ago. We ended up building it just to haul lumber back and forth from the sawmill that we were working at home so we could use the stuff. And it's all scrap as well. The angle iron that's in here, that's running in here, right here on the headboard, and then the cross members as well, that angle iron actually came from the electrical towers that they took down. That's all galvanized steel. Those cross members are galvanized steel. And if anybody's ever welded galvanized steel, you know what I'm talking about. It sucks welding that stuff. So on the back of the trailer, we got our standard tail lights. I still got to wire those up, and then this thing should be just about road ready. On each one of the sides, there's 2x4 cleats. There's 6 of them on each side to take and put 2x4s in. I have steel 2x4s about 36 inches long to take and stick inside of those, and it keeps the logs from rolling off to the other side, and it holds them in place. In addition to that, there's also D-rings, and on each one of the side there's 4 D-rings, so the straps or chains can take and hook up to it and to take and strap down the logs. In addition to doing logging and cutting up lumber as well, we've got a lot of projects that are on our plate right now. There's a 3-rail fence that runs across the front of the property to keep the horses in. All that has to be cut, built, put in place. We got a pole barn we're trying to enclose, more chicken coops, duck pens. We got to get built. We got a lot of fencing we got to get put up, and about 3 or 4 house remodels we got to get done as well. These are all houses that are on our property that we rent out to other personnel. But yeah, so do me a favor and give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share, and come along with us on the ride. It's going to be a good one. Have a good day.